Okay, so today let's talk about ancillary system architectures, integrated versus interfaced. So when we think about ancillary systems such as pathology, laboratory information system, or radiology information system, or pharmacy information system, they could be their own independent one interfaced with the electronic medical record system, or it could be part of the electronic medical record system. When it's a part of the electronic medical record system, it is called integrated, versus when the ancillary system is another third-party vendor separate from the main electronic medical record system, and it communicates somehow to the main EMR, then it is called interfaced. And there's pros and cons to these two strategies. It's not like one is good or the other is bad. So let's look at the pros and cons for each system and approach. So if it's integrated system, for example, Epic Beaker is a laboratory information system that was developed by main Epic EMR. In this case, the Beaker system is embedded into Epic. So it could work more seamlessly. There might be fewer errors, and it feels more one whole unit, one whole thing. The user might not have to go log out and log in. You could see everything in one login, which makes it very convenient for the user. But there also comes with limitations. The system, the whole entire system is obviously optimized for the main EMR, not for Beaker, not for radiology information system or laboratory information system. It is generally more optimized for main electronic medical record system, chart review, noting, SOAP note, those kind of work, where clinicians usually work on. So there might be limitation with customization, and we might be locked into that vendor specifically. So now let's look at an interfaced. Interfaced again is usually a different third-party vendor from the main EMR, and that vendor somehow interfaces and communicates with the main EMR. And usually that takes place through HL7 or FHIR. And because that vendor is so uniquely positioned and is rich in specialty for that specific ancillary system, it might have much more rich specialty features, and there might be more flexibility and functionality that is specific for that ancillary system, laboratory information system, radiology information system, or pharmacy information system. But maintaining that could be very complex, and the interface could cause a potential for error. It might not interface nicely and smoothly with the main EMR. So these are some things to consider. Now let's look at the cost. Integrated system, when it's part of the main EMR, it could be lower interface cost, as in there is no interface. It's actually part of the main EMR, so there is no interface cost. But there could be a higher licensing fee because it's one and all. You get everything at the same time. You might be paying premium for that. When it's interfaced, there might be advanced features that could be costly. Um, and you might have to pay for that dedicated IT staff to maintain that complex system. And let's look at operational risk. When it is integrated, obviously there is fewer failure points. There's no interface, so interface cannot fail. But when it fails, it will fail altogether. So if somehow there is a hacker that is able to hack into the main EMR, then that EMR will shut down along with the radiology information system or laboratory information system that is all part of this main EMR. So there's fewer points of failure, but when it fails altogether. Now let's look at the interface. Interface is more complex in terms of downtime planning. So let's say you want to update your EMR, then you will have to you could update just the EMR or and you could just update the laboratory information system or ancillary system. That's good, but you have to have two different downtimes versus when it's integrated, you have just one time downtime to upgrade everything. But on the other hand, when you think about it, because it's segregated, even if EMR, main EMR fa falls, and if it's, say, it's hacked, the laboratory information system might be safe. So these are pros and cons to think about. Now let's look at potential innovation and growth. When it's integrated, it is much more stable because it's one vendor, one team handling everything. The communication is smoother, there's no interface. So it could be stable. And it might be aligned more with the enterprise-wide data strategy because it's all in one location. It's much more easier to handle the data. But it could be slower in innovation. It's covering such a big area that it could be slower versus when it's interfaced and when the company is just focused on LIS system or RIS system, then the innovation could be faster. But again, these require more IT lift and the data format between the LIS system or RIS system could be different from the main EMR system, but it could be faster to adapt to new cutting edge technology and to be customized for specific niche laboratory or any kind of specific team. I mentioned this earlier, but a real world example will be in Epic Beaker. Epic Beaker is the laboratory information system. Radiant is the radiology information system under Epic. Epic has other information system such as Optime for operations, Cupid for cardiology, and various other ancillary system that is part of integrated to the main EMR. On the other hand, an example of interfaced, since I'm a pathologist, I could only talk about pathology here, but Sunquest LIS or Cerner or CoPath could be an ancillary system to the main EMR. They are more focused on specific laboratory functions. So the takeaway here is that as a clinical informatician, we must choose the optimal setup that keeps patients safe and meets regulatory needs and fits the hospital's long-term strategy in terms of data management, and while still leaving some room for future innovations. Thank you for listening.